Hey guys, welcome to another review, and welcome to my review for the movie You People. Yes, You People stars Eddie Murphy, Jonah Hill, Neil Long, David Duchovny, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and the movie is directed by Kenya Barris, Kenya Barris, and this movie is about a couple. Jonah Hill and his girlfriend are getting together, and he has to meet her family, and her family has to meet his family. His family are old school white people, and her family are new school black people, and it's about the families meeting, and culture clashes ensue, and are these two meant to be together even though they're so different and their families are so different? And it's literally just Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, but 2023 version, aka the shittiest version of this story. This story's been done many, many times. Like, the original Guess Who's Coming to Dinner from 1967, I think, with Sidney Poitier, Spencer Tracy, Katharine Hepburn. Fantastic movie. It's a great movie about his daughter. She's dating a black man. He, gets introduced to the family. At first, they're a little kind of shooken by it, but they accept him and his family, and accept them and their love. And it's a really great movie about interracial relationships, and during that time period was a very complicated thing, especially in the 60s. And I thought it was a movie that was really ahead of its time. It's got some good comedy, good conversations, and I think Sidney Poitier, Katharine Hepburn, and Spencer Tracy are all solid in that movie. It's a really good movie with good writing, and it was nominated for multiple Academy Awards for a good reason. It's a solid flick. And then there was a television show, I think y'all might have heard of it, called The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Really great show. There's a whole episode that's basically Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, but it's Will's aunt. She's marrying a guy, none of them have met him, and you find out he's a white guy. And at first, they're very shocked, but they accept him because he makes her happy, and they're happy being together. But Will's mom is not very accepting of it because she knows an interracial relationship is very difficult, and people will judge them and mock them, and their lives will be very difficult if they get married. But eventually she knows that this is what's meant to be. It's the right thing to do. It's a really great episode. It's a funny episode, but it's also a really great conversation episode about relationships and marriage and stuff, and coming into a new family. Very good. Great episode of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I think it's actually my top 10 favorite episodes of Fresh Prince. It's a very solid episode. That and Guess Who's Coming to Dinner did that story the best. Then there was an early 2000s movie called Guess Who, with Bernie Mac and Ashton Kutcher and Zoe Saldana. It was like a modern remake of Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. It almost did the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air thing, that Ashton Kutcher is marrying Zoe Saldana and he's meeting her family. Bernie Mac's her dad and meeting her mom, and they don't know he's white. And then when he comes, the family is accepting of him, but Bernie Mac, he's not. He's very skeptical of him. He doesn't trust him. And a little bit it has something to do with his race and stuff. And it's a really great movie. It's probably the funniest out of all the ones I've talked about. It's a very funny movie. Bernie Mac is very funny. Ashton Kutcher is tolerable, and I'm not an Ashton Kutcher fan, but it's a decent movie. It's not great, but it's decent. There's a lot of cliches, there's a lot of stupid moments, there's a lot of things that just don't make sense, but Bernie Mac and Zoe Saldana were the big standouts of that movie, and I think it's a fun movie. And it also has a good conversations in that movie. Not as deep as Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, but it was fine for what it was. But I enjoyed. So, 3 stories done, 2 in movies, 1 in a television show. So the story has been done to death. There's even an Asian version. If you watch The Wedding Banquet, directed by Ang Lee, that's about homosexuality, about him coming up to his parents and marrying a white guy. So it's a homosexual thing and interracial relationship thing. So if you want to see almost like a foreign version of it, watch The Wedding Banquet. That's a really good movie too. So we've seen this story been done to death. So what it does, you people have to bring to this story. What new takes does it have to bring? I'll tell you what they have to bring. Fucking nothing. This movie is trash. This is a fucking terrible movie. It's a waste of talent. Eddie Murphy. I fucking love Eddie Murphy. He is one of my favorite actors in the 80s. He can almost do no wrong when it came to the 80s. Eddie Murphy's been slacking, obviously. And he's not awful in the film. The two jokes I sniggered at were all from him. Just he's wasted. And he's so unlikable in this movie. I just didn't like his character at all. I don't know why they picked Eddie Murphy to play this role. It didn't work. Speaking of unlikable and annoying, Jonah Hill. I wouldn't say he's unlikable, Jonah Hill. He's just so stupid in this movie. He says the most idiotic, insane things. I'm like, what the fuck are you even talking about, dude? He is dreadful in this movie. And all the comedy he has in this movie is so forced. He's trying so hard to make a joke, and it's not funny. And I know Jonah Hill can be very funny. He's great in Superbad. He's great in, like, Forgetting Sarah Marshall. He's funny in The Wolf of Wall Street. I know he can be a very funny guy and a very good actor. He is awful. He's probably the worst part of this whole movie. Neil Long, she was okay. Julia Louis-Dreyfus and David Duchovny were probably, I guess, the best by default. They kind of play this, like, old school kind of family, and they come off really stupid in this movie. They look really dumb, and they obviously come out... They're supposed to be, like, the wrong people. The people are in the wrong, and Eddie Murphy and Neil Long are in the right. Like, it's very clear that this movie is saying that. But some of the points Julia Louis-Dreyfus brings up is actually good points, but she just articulates them in really stupid ways. I could tell this movie was written by someone who doesn't understand interracial relationships, doesn't understand politics either, doesn't understand some of the tragedies some people go to. I feel like this movie is just written by a Gen Zer, and I don't think it is, but it feels like it's written by like a modern person who doesn't quite understand what the hell they're talking about, and just... I don't know. This could have been just a serious movie, not even a comedy movie, about interracial relationships and modern society and how different people are treated in their society. There could have been a lot of great conversations in this movie, but they're not really good conversations. They're awful conversations in this film. Very one-sided conversations, and conversations that are treated as jokes that they shouldn't be, and then there's conversations that are taken seriously, but probably should have just been jokes. It's just that I don't know where they're going. They're back and forth everywhere in this fucking movie. And I don't know what the point was at all. Like, you know how the movie's going to end. It ends exactly how you think it's going to end. And by the end of it, you're like, what was the point of any of that? So, it's kind of a waste of time. And by the time the movie ends, you're just like, why the fuck did I even watch this movie? I didn't laugh. I didn't learn anything. And there was nothing intriguing or nothing even smart or clever about this film. So, there you go. This is my take on You People. I think it's a crap movie. It's funny, I actually saw this movie, and I actually watched the other day House Party, the remake of House Party. I didn't want to do a review of House Party because I have nothing to say about that movie other than it's a shit comedy. This is a shit comedy, but I have things to say. This is a shit comedy that thinks it has a purpose and thinks it's trying to say something, but it has nothing to say. Nothing new to say, at least. And it's a very one-sided movie. And it's a very, very misdirected film, too. And it tries to be the story of Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, but it's not done properly. And even when you see the relationship of Jonah Hill and Lauren London's character, they don't even seem like a good couple, and they're even meant to be together. They're even right for each other. Like, I got that in Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, or even Guess Who, and Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Like, I understood why those couples were together. They would look like they were meant to be together. These two don't even look like they're meant to be together. So, like, what is happening here? What is going on here? I think this movie was just a waste of talent and just a waste of anyone's time. So, yeah, I couldn't stand this movie. I didn't like it. I didn't think it was funny, and I didn't think it had anything good or interesting to say. I'd give it a scale of 1 to 10. I'd give it like a 2 out of 10. It's definitely the worst film I saw this year. House Party was shit, but I'd rather watch House Party again because it was just a movie with shit jokes from start to finish. This is a movie with shit jokes, but thinks it's saying something about its social commentary, and it says it all wrong and idiotic. This movie sucks. So let me know in the comments below, are you a fan of this movie? And out of all those stories, like Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, and the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air episode, what do you think out of those three told this kind of story the best? Comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like this video, please subscribe to this channel and join the dark side.